It's my first Steelers mock draft on this channel since the DK Metcalf trade and after the Steelers' moves in NFL free agency. And today we've got 7 rounds for you guys, 6 picks. No trades. Can't wait to get into it with you guys here. But before we get into it, make sure you click that thumbs up icon. If you want more mock drafts, and if you want another mock draft next week, we need to get to at least 500 likes on today's show. So make sure you click that thumbs up icon. If you haven't already, help out the show, increase the algorithm, all that good stuff. And we greatly appreciate your support. So my rule throughout this offseason, guys, is whenever I do a mock draft, I'm not taking players that I took in previous mock drafts. The reason for that rule, guys, is because I want to put as many Steelers draft targets in front of you guys as possible, all right? I don't want to be talking about the same guys over and over and over again. So if there's a player that you really want the Steelers to take and they're not listed on today's show, I probably took them in a previous mock. So check out our other mocks on the channel after you watch this one. But this week, I'm also going to go no trades. I'll probably introduce a trade scenario next week, either trade down or trade up, probably a trade down scenario. But for this week, no trades for this particular mock draft. So we'll start here with maybe it's going to be a controversial pick because the last time I did a mock, I picked Jahdae Barron out of Texas to be the next slot corner of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to take a different guy to play that role here in Malaki Starks, the DB out of Georgia. Now, you might be saying, but Jack, he's a safety. We don't need a safety. Well, guess what? Starks is a versatile weapon on defense, man. He can play in the slot. He can play in the box. He can play free safety. He can do a lot of different things, man. He reminds me a lot of Brian Branch, the star safety, defensive back extraordinaire, defensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. He's not the most athletic or fast player in the world, but he's got extremely fluid feet, and his football instincts are off the charts, man. He is a ball hawk. He's got incredible ball skills for a defensive back. And these Georgia players, man, they play in the slot. They play free safety. They play strong safety. They play all over the place there in Athens, all right? And I know Mike Tomlin is a big fan of Georgia Bulldog players, all right? They just traded up for one 2 seasons ago in the first round in Broderick Jones. And right now, the Steelers need a starting slot corner. With all due respect to Brandon Echols and with all due respect to Beanie Bishop Jr., Malaki Starks can be a game-changing weapon on defense for the Pittsburgh Steelers on day one. And I think that that's the player that they should be kind of monitoring right now. So what say you guys? Would you be happy if Malaki Starks is the pick in round 1 for Omar Khan and the Pittsburgh Steelers? Give me a yes or a no down there in the comments section. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. And when that happens, take advantage of that time by giving me a yes or a no on Malaki Starks. Then we have to go all the way to round 3 because the Steelers sent their second round pick to Seattle for DK Metcalf. And here I'm going to take DJ Giddens, the running back out of Kansas State. Now, Giddens brings some really good size to the table. He's very tall, but for his size, he can move, man. 4.43 speed as a guy at his size is elite. His 10 and 20-yard splits are also elite. His explosiveness is incredible. And where I really like Giddens, guys, is his ability to get out in open space and make a guy miss. Like, his one-cut ability is as good as just about anybody in this class, even at his size. And that's exactly what the Pittsburgh Steelers are looking for in their number 1 running back right now. All right, and right now, the Steelers are showing a ton of interest in him. All right, he's the only running back. In fact, he's the only player at this point in time that has had both a combine formal meeting with the Steelers and a top 30 visit in Pittsburgh. He's the only player. All right, there's been players with informal combine meetings and a top 30, but he's the only one with a formal and a top 30 visit. So the Steelers are obviously keeping close tabs on DJ Giddens, and I can see why. He'd be a perfect fit in this wide zone system. He can make a guy miss out in space. He is a big play waiting to happen, and he's got that 4.43 speed to hit home runs as well. I think Giddens is one of the more underrated running back prospects in this entire class, and if he's there in round 3, I think the Steelers could pull the trigger on him. So coming up here on Steelers Talk in this week's mock draft, my day 3 picks, round 4, round 5, round 6, and round 7 are all coming your way here in just 1 second. Another thing that's coming your way is DK Metcalf playing in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform next year. And you guys can get your very own DK Metcalf Steelers jersey with our friends at Fanatics right now when you go to chatsports.com/DK. They're currently on pre-sale, so if you want to pre-order your DK Metcalf jersey, it also helps out the channel. Fanatics sends us part of the proceeds when you use our link, so help us out right now. Help yourself out. Get your DK Metcalf jersey today by going to chatsports.com/DK. Here in round 4, at pick number 123, I'm going to take a nose tackle that I think could play right away as the Steelers starting nose tackle, and that is J.J. Pegues out of Ole Miss. Now, this is a player that really impressed me at the Shrine Bowl this year. I watched him in person, practice live, and his ability to move people is impressive, all right? And I would start him. He's 325 pounds. He's a big boy. He's one of the better run defenders in this class, in my opinion, at nose tackle day 1. And that would allow me to put Keanu Benton where I think he's more suited to be a disruptive player at 3 technique as opposed to nose tackle where he has to take on double teams and be more of a run defender. I think that Pegues out of Ole Miss here is more suited to play that role, and that allows Benton to be at his best, and it also allows Cam Hayward to be at his best playing 5 technique, which is a 3-4 defensive end kind of role for the Steelers defense. Plus, he doubles as a giant fullback. He did some fullback work there at Ole Miss. I mean, I would love to see some big boy football on offense here with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That Kenyon Green at fullback kind of stint, a couple of training camps ago was electric. I want to see this guy run tout the rock, be the refrigerator here with the Pittsburgh Steelers in short yardage situations. I think that'd be a lot of fun, and you get an insanely good run defender to be your nose tackle of the future. Now, I will say, guys, I did lie to you at the beginning of today's video. I am actually going to make a trade on today's show, but I'm not going to trade down, and I'm not going to trade up. I'm going to trade for a player, all right? And the player I'm going to trade for here is I'm going to trade my round 5 pick for quarterback Joe Milton from the New England Patriots. Now, the Patriots, they have Drake May, who is their quarterback of the future. They brought in Joshua Dobbs in free agency. He's going to be their backup quarterback. They are very clearly shopping Joe Milton, and I think that they will trade him at some point. And if I'm the Steelers and I'm sitting in round 5 and I'm choosing between guys like Will Howard and Kyle McCord, and, I got an option for Joe Milton, who is way more physically gifted than either of those guys, and he would cost the same pick to get them, I'm going to send that 5th-round pick to New England for Joe Milton because I think that Milton might have the strongest arm in the entire league, and that's not even a joke. Like, this guy's got a bazooka for an arm. He's extremely big for a quarterback at 235 pounds, and then he's explosive as all get out, and he runs a 4.62, which is an elite time for a quarterback. So you got the size, you've got the arm strength, you've got the rushing ability, and he showed some really good things with New England last year, both in the preseason and in the regular season finale, where he was allowed to play for most of that game for the New England Patriots. Now, granted, he played against the Bills' backups, but his mental processing looked so much better than it did at Tennessee. His accuracy looked so much better than it did at Tennessee. His pocket presence looked so much better than it did on his Tennessee film. He made significant strides in his first season in the NFL, and if I'm going to be banking a 5th-round pick on somebody that it could be like just a flyer at quarterback, I'd rather spend that 5th-round flyer on a guy that I've already seen has potential at the NFL level. So for me, I'm going to go with Joe Milton here. I'm going to trade that 5th-round pick. If New England is willing to come to the table, I'd rather have Joe Milton over any other quarterback the Steelers can get in round 5. Then in round 6, I'm going to take his former teammate there with the Tennessee Volunteers, and Dante Thornton Jr., a big body, big play threat, on the outside that I think Mike Tomlin is falling in love with right now. The Steelers are showing this guy a lot of attention and a lot of love, and as you guys can see, this guy is a physical freak. He is tall, he is a contested catch demon, and he runs a 4.3 at his size, which is really, really rare, and his ability to stack and shed, his ball tracking ability is phenomenal. Now, he's more of just a true deep threat type of wide receiver, all right? He's not the best overall route runner. He's not going to be a slot. He's not going to be a route running technician. He's a true deep threat. But I think if you bring in Dante Thornton Jr., this is what the Steelers want to do. They have DK Metcalf and George Pickens. They want to throw the deep ball down the sideline, and that's exactly what Dante Thornton does best. And with George Pickens heading into the final year of his rookie contract, perhaps the Steelers could view Thornton, who you can get in round 6 at this point, as kind of like a backup policy in case George Pickens decides all of a sudden he wants to be traded after the draft. And then also if he walks in free agency in 2026, you got a guy in Dante Thornton that can be a really good deep threat for you heading into the 2026 season. So I think that this is an excellent insurance for the Pittsburgh Steelers at a big position for their offense, and I think it'd be a hell of a pick, especially if you want to run the deep ball type of passing offense the Steelers do. And then in round 7, I'm going to take one of my favorite sleeper prospects on the offensive line in this year's class, Jackson Slater out of Sacramento State. I thought he had a terrific Senior Bowl, was one of the better true guards at the Senior Bowl this year. And, with Isaac Seumalo heading into a contract year, maybe you want to bring him back, maybe you don't. Last year they brought in Mason McCormick to eventually replace James Daniels. Maybe they bring in Jackson Slater to eventually replace Isaac Seumalo. I think that Slater has some nice potential. And I think if you bring him in and you kind of give him an opportunity to grow within this offense, he might even be able to blossom a little bit here as a small school guy to be the next Mason McCormick and become a starter in this Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line. So this is my mock 4.0 haul here. I'm going to get Malaki Starks to be my new Swiss Army knife, defensive weapon, chess piece. Then I got DJ Giddens to be my new number 1 running back, JJ Pegues to be my new nose tackle, Joe Milton to be a dart throw at quarterback, Dante Thornton Jr. to be a deep threat wide receiver, and Jackson Slater as a depth piece along the interior of the offensive line that I think has some nice potential. So grade my mock draft this week, guys, A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. And that'll be it for this week's mock draft, guys. Thank you so much for sticking with me to the very end. Again, don't be afraid to let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. And until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers.